Great. So it's my pleasure to welcome your host for the evening. This is Dr. Ted Kerner. He's class of 85, a retired radiologist living out in Winston-Salem. Ted is your chair-elect of the National Loyalty Fund Committee, and he will be leading you through this wonderful agenda tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and take the PowerPoint down so we can see each other and let Ted kick us off.
Thanks, Kirsten. Again, hello everyone, and welcome to our Loyalty Fund meeting. We're going to try to move quickly, and I've got a few things I need to say here by way of introduction, but throughout this evening and an hour, we're going to try to keep it at an hour. You're going to hear some, I think, very, very interesting and very important examples of why unrestricted funding to the Loyalty Fund is so important. Our conversation does come in the context of the larger university campaign. I'm sure you're all aware, 4.25 billion, which I'm sure we're going to blow through. That's for the university as a whole. 1 billion of that, you all know this stuff, but 1 billion of that is UNC Healthcare and School of Medicine. That will definitely be over. They'll just blow through. They're $60 million short of that right now, 18 months early. I mean, that's a real tribute to the development team. 60 million. They'll have that by next week, I'm confident. We want to focus tonight, though, on the Loyalty Fund and really on those unrestricted dollars that are very, very important. You know, our goal is, I'll say, only 10 million for the Loyalty Fund. That's small when compared to $1 billion, but I think we've all had experiences and been involved in circumstances where a small gesture or a small gift has a tremendous impact. You may not realize it immediately, but looking back, you can certainly see that that is the case. Before we get started real quick, again, I want if everyone who's a Loyalty Fund Committee member, just wave your hand just so people kind of know. We probably all know each other. The development team, wave please. Everybody probably knows all of them. Come on, wave development team. We're going to hear from our speakers shortly, so they'll be individually introduced. We've got our medical alumni team. We've got the always well-attired Butch Fowler, Super Tar Heel, who is our Associate Dean for Medical Alumni Affairs. We've got the Director of Medical Alumni Association, Kathy Harris, and the person who seems to be able to find out just about anything about anything. So if you need information, get to Kathy. And we have Todd Dawson, who's our Associate Staff Support and helps make the whole Medical Alumni Office just kind of stay on course and run. So thank you guys. Also, is there anyone that's on this meeting that is not a member of that group, either a committee member or a speaker or development or MAA? Anybody, if you are, please raise your hand, because you're very, very important to us tonight, because now we know who you are. And we're always looking for new members to the Loyalty Fund. So welcome to the guest. Finally, I just want us to remember a longtime faculty member, longtime ardent supporter of the School of Medicine, a longtime member of the Loyalty Fund, Bud Harper, who passed away this past March, who will be sorely missed. We're going to get into the presentations. Going to introduce Mary Liz Entwistle. You're not related to John Entwistle. You don't know who John Entwistle is. He's the bassist for The Who. I'm sure you don't.
I know who John Entwistle is.
Do you really? Wow, I'm impressed. Anyway, Mary Liz joined the UNC Health Foundation last spring, correct, as an Assistant Director of Development, and she oversees our annual giving and Loyalty Fund gifts. So please welcome Mary Liz.
Thanks, Ted. So I just wanted to talk to you all for just a minute or two about the state of the Loyalty Fund. We've been really fortunate, thanks to folks on this committee and other members of our alumni and friends of the school, that we're actually ahead in dollars year to date over last year. And really the health and this continued investment in the Loyalty Fund has allowed us to continually respond to the changing needs of our school and of our students, particularly in a year like this year where their needs are a little bit different. And so having flexible funds like the Loyalty Fund is really important. As I mentioned, we have a Loyalty Fund goal in the campaign. That goal is 10 million and we are at 8.7 million. So it's going to take all of us working together to reach that final goal. But I think it's very attainable given the demonstrated amounts of support that we've seen across the alumni community. But so while the Loyalty Fund remains our top priority, I do want to point out a few of our other funds that are really important and that help enrich the overall medical school experience, like the Excellence Fund that contributes a lot to faculty support and student support, our MED program, which is one of our pipeline programs for underrepresented students, our SHAC funds, and our global funds, which haven't gotten a lot of use in the past year, but will be very important as soon as student travel and enrichment opens back up again. All of these things put together show a really promising future for the Loyalty Fund. I have a lot of great data on the Loyalty Fund, which will be emailed out to you after today's presentation. But if anyone just likes data and wants to talk with me about the Loyalty Fund numbers, I'm happy to set up some time and chat with you about all the nitty-gritty details, but you'll get a full report after this meeting. But to show one of the ways that the Loyalty Fund really impacts our students in an everyday kind of way, we have Lauren Catterall on the call with us. Lauren is a fourth-year student who is finishing her MPH at the Gilling School of Health. She will be applying to plastic surgery residencies in the fall and aims to continue her work in medical education and diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. And so Lauren was able to partner with the Medical Alumni Office and the Loyalty Fund for a special project that I'm going to let her tell you more about.
Yes, thank you so much for that introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be speaking with you all tonight and to share this story that would not have occurred without the Medical Alumni Association and the Medical Alumni Office. So thank you all. So essentially last year, after the COVID-19 pandemic hit, there were a lot of really negative feelings. There was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of helplessness from the aspect of the medical student perspective. We were pulled from our rotations, trying to figure out a way that we could make a difference with the pandemic and still stay safe. And there was just a lot of mental energy that I was trying to dedicate to figuring out how I could possibly improve my community at UNC and especially the med student community and still work within the new restrictions that were in place due to COVID-19. And something that I came up with was to think about the training we were receiving for my specific career that I'm hoping to go into, surgery, and how we could continue to train students at an earlier point in their career prior to third year. So I partnered with a colleague of mine, another fourth-year medical student who's currently graduating and going into OB-GYN here at UNC, Janine Baldino. And together we kind of created a curriculum for surgical education that would be implemented for first and second year medical students here at UNC and would allow students to continue their training even with the COVID-19 restrictions and give them opportunities to meet in person and still practice their surgical skills, perform simulations, and also give them some exposure to surgery as a career. There are a lot of stereotypes about surgery and ideas about who can and cannot be a surgeon, what it takes. Students had perceptions that women would not be good candidates, people who wanted to spend time with their family would not be good candidates, and that it's a field that is not open for minority students or people of color. And so I really wanted to create a curriculum that would address all of those stereotypes and kind of show students that surgery is a place for everyone and that we want people from all backgrounds. Unfortunately, when we first created the curriculum, we did not have a source of funding. So although we created an entire course, we had surgeons who were interested in helping out, we had the SIMS planned, we didn't have a means of acquiring any of the materials necessary for the course to run. But thankfully, the Medical Alumni Association was able to help us out in this aspect. We were able to obtain all of the supplies we needed, including catheters. We also purchased different pork hide and pork skin for the students to suture on, materials for them to practice at home, as well as materials for chest tube simulations. And so thanks to that funding, we were able to get the course in place. We worked with 10 second-year medical students in the fall. And after that first surge of funding, we made an application to the UNC General Surgery Department, and they were able to provide us with a $1,000 grant for us to continue the program this spring. So this spring, we have 21 students enrolled, and we're also getting really great feedback. So we're hoping to petition for it to be a formal course in the fall of this year and to open it up to 40 or 50 students so that this experience could be shared. And so again, I just really want to say thank you and let you know that this money really makes an impact on students. I mean, we've had people who were not even considering surgery start to think, okay, maybe this is something for me. And just overall, again, also give them that community support and interaction. So thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. I mean, that to me is really the epitome of what those unrestricted dollars are for. We need to provide scholarships, we need to support research, but to have the ability to quickly respond when an opportunity, it's not just a need, that's an opportunity, comes up, I think is, that should make everybody feel very good about what we do. And glad we could throw the burden back on the Department of Surgery. Very, very nice. I get to introduce a couple of people tonight, some really neat people. I didn't get to introduce Lauren, but she's obviously in that group. I do get to introduce our next speaker, Eli Tate. And Eli is a very, very talented radiologist. There's several radiologists in this group tonight, which is nice to see, actually, but very talented radiologist who came to the School of Medicine through a somewhat circuitous route, having spent 10 years in the Air Force as a C-130 pilot, which is very impressive, and also on the advanced team that prepared for the arrival and departure of Air Force One for presidential flights, which is equally impressive. So he's also a pretty good looking guy. He's a very nice guy. Enjoyed having a beer with him the other day. He's also a member of my practice now, which I'm very delighted to welcome. Even though I'm not there, it's great to have him. But Eli, I think, is going to tell us a similar story. It's another great reason, an example of how these unrestricted, and I keep using the word unrestricted, I'm just going to keep hammering away. These unrestricted dollars have a huge impact. So welcome, Eli. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks for asking me to talk about this. It's something that has certainly motivated me since I graduated from medical school in 2014 to create these opportunities after graduation. And Lauren, I mean, the ingenuity that you had to come up with something like that, and then, you know, the fact that we had to create some flexibility in our funding and to have that available is my first point. This is a unique opportunity, and there's not many public medical schools that can provide these kind of opportunities to their medical students, and I would say very few. So the flexibility that we have created, and that to encourage the creativity of the medical students is incredibly important. The opportunity that I had in medical school involved, between my first year and second year, going to Malawi with Sir Anthony Charles, as I call him. I'm not sure if he's been knighted yet, but I'm sure it's forthcoming. And spent a month in Malawi, experiencing the public health and the surgical environment there. And there was no other way that I would have been able to do that. And so the key point to me, and I'll be brief, I know we're on a tight timeline for this committee, is that much like the actual loyalty fund scholarships, this engenders loyalty among the current medical students. And that's really important for us. And going forward, one of our goals on this committee is to get more young alumni support earlier, more often, and to engage them so that they are lifelong members of this committee, active in the Alumni Association, and of course, donors. And these enrichment opportunities are incredibly important to that. You don't go into medical school thinking that's something you're going to be able to take advantage of. And so, moving forward, both at the Loyalty Fund and in the Alumni Association, and I won't get into the details there, but Dr. Sherry Jordan and I have talked about this. The committee's, has a goal of engendering more support from young alumni, and I think this is really important. We're not going to establish scholarships from alumni who are 3 or 4 years out. We're gonna raise funds for something that was dear to their experience at UNC, and to be able to do that, we have plans on how to get in touch with folks more, how to create that cadre of young alumni who can come in and support us for the long term. So we want to create a robust young alumni involvement, and Lauren, that story is I think highlights, keynotes one of the really important ways that we're going to do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Eli. I want to, Eli is the example of the energy and perspective being on the young side that we really need to bring in to this committee. You're going to be hearing this same message from all of us, including Eli, for the next decade, because Eli is he is vice chair of the committee. He's also in the queue as president of the Medical Alumni Association. So you can see how, in addition to the clinical skills that he developed a real desire to want to provide service back to the university. I'm sure Lauren, soon to be Dr. Lauren, is going to end up the same way. That's the challenge. We expect to see you here year after year after year after year. After we're really, really old. But thanks again, Eli. I'm going to turn it back over to Kirsten, I believe, who is going to give us some updates on scholarships.
Yes.
Which are not unrestricted, which are partially unrestricted. Some are, some aren't. If you want to explain that, go right ahead.
We won't go too much into depth on that,
Yeah.
but we do have, the Loyalty Fund provides a very generous portion of our scholarship funds every year. And we also have alumni who have endowed scholarships or who are annually funding them. So thanks to all of those efforts combined, this year we're currently offering 78 scholarships of $10,000 or more, in addition to our Blanchard Scholarship Program, which is really incredible. For those of you who aren't keeping track of current tuition, tuition and fees these days are $35,000 a year for our in-state, which does not include the cost of living. And so these awards are incredibly meaningful to our students, and they tell our students that we see them, we care about them, we want them to have all of the choices in life that they might want to go become the amazing doctors that they're meant to be. So just a couple of updates on this year. We have 2 new alumni scholarships that will be coming online for this fall that we're really excited about. We have 2 scholarships that are just on the cusp of being funded and on their way in, and we're really excited about those. And we have 2 alumni who have very generously added to their scholarships through their estate plans. And so all of these efforts together are positioning us to have a really incredible breadth and depth of scholarship support that we can offer in the coming years. So really grateful to all of you who are, funding your own scholarships, contributing to scholarships, have plans for your scholarships, and a reminder for those of you who are supporting the Loyalty Fund that you are also really making a difference on that front. We do have a $48 million goal in the campaign for student support. We're doing pretty well towards that front, but the biggest thing for me is just seeing alumni and friends kind of coming out and really showing support for our students. Real fast, I do want to also highlight too that we have non-alumni who are funding scholarships. Even just this spring, we've had the privilege to establish 2 scholarships that are full ride in terms of tuition. One's $35,000 and one's $40,000 that will be funded annually for the next several years. So it's exciting to us to see people outside of the school investing too, because it speaks to the caliber of our students and our education. And both of these scholarships are focused in the primary care space, where of course UNC ranks very high nationally. We're number 3 this year. So it's exciting to be part of all of this and to get to support incredible students like the one I'm about to introduce, Andres Lopez. We are very, very fortunate. Andres is graduating this spring, and we are keeping him here at Carolina. We did something right. He's matched into family medicine with us. He has an incredible background. He's from Hendersonville, North Carolina. He has a passion for serving some of our ethnic and marginalized communities in North Carolina. I'm about to say a lot of really impressive sounding things. He, during his time here, was an alumni MED program teaching assistant. He was president of the Latino Medical Student Association. He was inducted into the Goals Humanism Honor Society, and he completed capstone projects for both our longitudinal Campus Medical Spanish program and our medical education scholarly concentration. And if you don't know what any of that means, the takeaway is that he's an incredible student. He threw himself into our education, our curriculum, has been very, very involved in a number of programs and opportunities, and we're really lucky to have him here. So I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to him.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time. I just want to give a little snapshot of kind of how the Loyalty Fund Scholarship has affected me, and really hopefully a representation of how it really affects all the students in our student body. I'm a Thomas D. Crowell Loyalty Fund Scholar. I received it my first year here at Carolina. Each year reapplied, holding my breath, knowing that, you know, there's limited number of scholarships as well as a over number of applicants. And got it every year. And I was thinking about what I could say that afforded me. With one of the last things I want to be talking about is money, because yes, money is money, but I think the number one thing I've realized is that it afforded me something very precious to doctors, and that's time. And that time wasn't just simply time with my family and time to kind of decompress from my studies, but it was also time to really explore the passions that I have. So for example, in my third year, in addition to all my regular rotations, I would drive out to Cullowhee, North Carolina, and volunteer with a migrant farm clinic called Vecinos. And I did that twice a month, driving a very far distance, but I knew because I had the backing of the Loyalty Fund that I had the time to go do that. And that was something very passionate for me. Another thing that I had time for during these last 4 years has been mentoring minority students and first generation students who want to become doctors. One of them actually just got accepted this year to UNC School of Medicine, so very excited for him. One's on the wait list, one's at Brody. So I've already gotten to give back in a way that people have given to me, and especially people who have helped with these Loyalty Fund scholarships. And then on top of that, as you heard, I really got to invest fully without any kind of burden on my mind in terms of my medical education, scholarly concentration, which is something I'm really passionate about, in addition to medical Spanish longitudinal curriculum with Dr. Alumni, who's an incredible teacher. And so just having time that has been afforded to me to do those things through the Loyalty Fund has been incredible. In addition to that, there's also financial resources been afforded to me. I'm actually speaking to you on a camera that I bought for residency interviewing because the camera on my laptop broke. And this camera is actually way better. It's external, but that's something that I was concerned about for residency applications, which were residency interviews, which were all completely virtual this year. And that was something that I didn't have any qualms about purchasing to make sure I could complete those. Another thing is I was selected to go to California as part of Kaiser Permanente's Latino Salud Health Elective for Latino students who want to really work with those communities. And I was talking with my wife, I was like, this is a whole month that I'm gonna go out in California. I was like, and we had to discuss budgeting and finances. Would this be something I'd be able to afford in terms of housing and everything of the sort? And it was something that got canceled due to the pandemic. But after a long talk with my wife and looking at our finances, it was something that I felt confident that I was going to be able to attend, and something I was very proud of to be selected for. And then the last thing that this kind of has afforded me is actually affirmation. Each year I applied, and like I said, it's a competitive pool of students that apply to these scholarships. And each year I was like, I hope I get it, but if I don't get it renewed, I'm okay with that. And I'm doing the things I'm very passionate about that you heard about. And each year I was awarded with the scholarship, and I was like, I'm doing the things that I care about and that I have the extra time and energy to devote my passion to. And the school is really recognizing that as a beneficial thing. And the Alumni Council and the Alumni Foundation are recognizing this as a beneficial thing. So I'm just going to keep doing those things. And I think that really paid off, you know, whether it's Golden Humanism Honor Society or Community Service Honor Society here at UNC, the Eugene Mayer one. I just think I got a lot of recognition for things that I was passionate about. I had the time to do, and I had the energy to do, and the peace of mind to do, thanks to the Loyalty Fund. And then just to bring it all kind of full circle, I also got to be a teaching assistant for the MED program, which was probably one of my proudest things in med school, because I was also a student in the MED program. And I'm a product entirely and wholly of that pipeline that has meant so much to me. But once again, another opportunity that was afforded to me due to the financial resources and the time that I got from the Loyalty Foundation. And similarly, just as Eli said, the hope is to really come back full circle. And as I was able to give back full circle to the medical education development program that got me here, I'm also hoping to one day give back fully to the Alumni Foundation that has also afforded me all these opportunities and let me explore my passions while I'm here at Carolina, and hopefully also make Carolina proud. Thanks for your time.
Andres, thank you. That's very impressive, obviously. And I too am very busy. I managed this week. I think I got myself dressed. I maybe cooked a meal. So your time management skills, the same with you, Lauren. You know, it's quite embarrassing to hear of those things. I will ask you, Andres, 30 seconds, because we want to stay on time. And you mentioned your camera. What was your experience like interviewing virtually? You know, I mean, that's so different from the experience the rest of us have had.
It was tough, I'll admit. You know, having the virtual setup, making sure I could be heard clearly, everything of the sort was tough. But I do think that you can definitely still connect virtually, and I was able to connect with residency programs. And I'm very, very excited to be staying at UNC, but all the other ones were actually on the complete opposite side of the country, mainly in California. So it was very tough knowing that between screens, I'm making this life decision that could be across the country. But I did feel like, you know, I felt like I was prepared, whether it was the advising system at Carolina or the people and the people in all the different administrative offices who had my back and were really supporting me. I felt like I really was in the driver's seat, despite how kind of nerve-wracking it was. So, yeah.
That's great. Congratulations again. Look forward to seeing you years to come. And Lauren, look forward to seeing you in years to come, hearing about where you're going next. Moving along, one of the other funds as part of the School of Medicine campaign is a $10 million goal for faculty support. And I'm happy to report that has been surpassed, but it's been surpassed with deferred gifts. And so it's going to be a while before that money is available. So we need to continue to support the faculty, which can be done through unrestricted dollars to the Loyalty Fund. And I get to introduce another very neat person, Sherry Jordan, who's going to tell us exactly why we have to do this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Sherry's going to tell us why we have to do it. Briefly, and I'll probably miss something here, but Sherry's professor of radiology, your director of undergraduate medical education for the department. Very pertinent to us, she currently holds a Med Alumni Distinguished Teaching Professorship. Congratulations on that. Sherry's recognized, and there are people on this call I can tell you, Sherry's recognized as a tremendous teacher and mentor. And we're very fortunate to have people like Sherry as faculty. Though often not mentioned, another attribute is that she can claim John Kirkland and myself as classmates. So seriously though, Sherry, the whole class of 85, very proud of what you've done and what you will do. So Sherry's going to talk to us about faculty support.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm really honored, actually. And among the many hats I do wear, I'm thrilled to wear, is that I'm also the only child. I'm a daughter, and my main role right now is caregiver. And so I'm in a public space in a Florida hospital. And so I'm going to very briefly, and because I'm concerned about the ambient noise, I've actually put what I'm going to say in the chat box. I'm going to hit enter now. I wanted to have you put faces with the initiative. There are 8 of us currently named, and on behalf of the Medical Alumni Distinguished Teaching Professors, I just want to say thank you. We are your tax deducted dollars at work. I want to remind you of the advantages of this, especially around tax time. I'm always wishing tax time in the last week of every year when you're doing your planning, and should have done it earlier. Be mindful that that tax day is a lot less painful some years if you've been particularly attentive and generous through the years and through the year, and you certainly have been when it comes to our programs. Our alumni professors direct tech phases, tech courses. We direct residencies, advise learners, and in most instances, we do all of the above, actually. We are all clinician educators. Most of us publish, and want to just thank you and assure you that we put the award monies to good use. And Kirsten's going to show another slide. On the first slide are the current MADTP professors, and on the second slide here are what my award monies have been used for thus far. In the COVID era, there have been, to say the least, new challenges to best, and many students whose needs must be met. And we heard Dr. Lopez, we heard Dr. Catterall give remarkable stories, and in each instance there was a description of the so-called scholarly concentration, and this is an example. This actually, the ultrasound scholarly concentration arose out of the med ed scholarly concentration, believe it or not. So these are 2 years worth of point of care ultrasound scholarly concentration students, 25 remarkable, mostly preclinical students who, rest assured, are teaching me as much as I am teaching them. And that is all credit due to each of you. Thank you.
Sherry, thanks very much. We wish your father, you, and the rest of your family well, and hope all goes well. But thanks very much for being here under those circumstances. I'm going to I turn the program over now to Janine Simmons, and again, I think everybody probably knows Janine, who is Senior Director of Development for Medical Education, and please take us away from there, okay, Janine?
Thanks, Ted. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Happy to see your faces, a couple of your faces I haven't seen in quite a while. So it's good to have you on here. My job tonight is to talk a little bit about our final priority that rounds out the campaign for us, which is, of course, the one that's the biggest in physical stature, which is our medical education building. I hope that you've had a chance to look at the live feed that we have online. And over the last several months, as you've seen Berry Hill come down, there is now sort of a blank slate in the earth where it used to be. And you'll get a chance to see a snippet of that here in a moment. But do want to just mention that to date, alumni and friends have claimed 23 spaces in the new building, representing just about $4.6 million. We're very proud of that, very grateful for that. And certainly we are broadening our scope, have broadened our scope beyond just alumni to fundraise for that really important, very expensive project. But as we do that, we want to make sure to just say thank you to you guys who have helped to fill the spaces with the names of people who have created these legacies within our School of Medicine, and we're grateful. If you haven't been a part of that project and you'd like to be, certainly you can reach out to me anytime, or Kirsten, any of us on the team, Dr. Fowler, and we can help send you in the right direction and give you the information that you need. But we're really excited about it. And here with us to share a little bit more from the ground floor, if you will, is Dr. Cam Enerson. Cam, take it away.
Thanks, Janine. If we could pull up the slides. We have 5 slides to show you. We're excited to tell you about the progress that's being made for the MedEd building. Just as a reminder, this is what the building will look like as you come in from South Columbia. There's purposely designed with lots of glass and open areas to promote interaction. On the right-hand side, you see in the bottom right is the active learning theater, and that's been designed to hold 240 students. As you know, we're currently at 190, but this building allows us to expand the class size. Shown in the upper right is one of the floors that promotes innovative learning, and as a byproduct of the creation of this building, the faculty have embarked upon a redesign of the foundation phase of the curriculum to integrate more case-based learning, more active learning, and we're excited about that. Next slide. So this is the view from the backside. So this is what you would see, to the right is Carrington Hall, and then you can see, the building as it's juxtaposed against Brinkhouse Bullitt. And again, purposely designed with lots of open space. The floors with the glass facing us actually face towards Keenan Stadium. So as you go higher, you can actually watch the football or other sporting events if you so wish. Next slide. So the next couple pictures are come from the tower crane. So at the end of March, the tower crane was installed, and the tower crane is actually 300 feet tall. So you're looking down 300 feet, and I wanted just to give you sort of an orientation. To the left is Carrington Hall, and then to the right is Brinkhouse Bullitt. And I'll just mention a couple of things that you see when you look at the picture. In the bottom right, it may not sound exciting, but it's actually a 50,000 gallon storm sewer cistern. And that will be covered over, and nobody will see it until the next time a new building is built. There's also, and as you look down, you see micropiles. The micropiles actually form the foundation for the building. And all of the micropiles now have been installed. And they were installed from the bottom of the picture, which is west, to the top, which is east. And they're in the process now of sizing the micropiles and putting caps on them to allow the foundation to be laid on top. To the left, if you look closely, you'll see in the northeast corner, which is lower left, they've started with placement of rebar and some of the foundation forms, and that'll be progressing from northwest towards the east. So progress being made. What if you and I were on top of the crane and we were looking out over the Carolina landscape? What would we see? Next slide. That's what we'd see. So, the building won't be, probably as tall as the crane, but you can get an idea from looking from that viewpoint that I showed you in the second slide, what the students and the faculty and others, and including our alumni that come to the building, will be able to see. So I think it's an exciting view, and the horizon is unlimited. So that's something we wanted you to note. So we're excited about the building. Janine's talked about the fundraising that's gone on, certainly more opportunities for that. And next slide. This was a slide, I think Gina will check for the time lapse to show you that's the old, that's the Berry Hill Hall, and you'll likely see it come down. So I actually wanted to show this last versus first because I wanted you to be excited about the future. We want to preserve our history and recognize and appreciate that. But what we want to do is be excited about what's going to go up in where Berry Hill Hall was. So the timing with any construction project, there's always issues, but we're currently on track for what's called beneficial occupancy, meaning that we can begin to use the building in the late fall of 2022. It wouldn't be finished until the early part of 2023, but we're currently planning to be able to teach some of the classes in that building before the end of the fall semester of 2022. So I'm excited, as I said, to be able to share this with you. Great things are happening, and keep an eye on that webcam. It shows you what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and beginning towards the end of July and moving into the first part of the end of June, moving into the first part of July, you're going to start seeing steel come out of the ground, and that'll be an exciting time. And because of COVID, we haven't had the opportunity to have a groundbreaking, but at some point we're going to have a recognition ceremony, and we're going to time that so as many of you who could participate could attend. So Janine, that's what I had for tonight, and thanks for the opportunity to join.
That's great. Thank you so much, Cam.
Thanks, Cam. I didn't get to introduce Cam, but he's another one of the people you've heard tonight that is just an incredibly talented asset for the school and the healthcare system. And Cam, I mean, his involvement in the initiatives on the new medical education building are very significant, very, very significant. And Cam was an early adopter when he arrived on campus of the UNC Blue. And we're very grateful for that, because Cam was also my neighbor long time ago when he was on faculty at that other medical school that's here in Winston-Salem that's probably going to move to Charlotte now or something along those lines. I don't know how that's going to shake out, but thanks, Cam. And I do just want to take a moment. We're not too far off our schedule at just a moment. Just it's a lot of fun to be a part of this group. I've said it to a lot of people. I get to hobnob with some fascinating, talented people, and you've heard them tonight, and I think we all do. And that's part of what I think we get out of being alums at this university, being part of the Medical Alumni Association specifically, and even more specifically, a loyalty fund. So again, I think it's something we should really recognize and be thankful for. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kirsten. And before I forget, Kirsten, among many other things she does, she basically puts all this together. So thank you very much for doing all of that work. So back to you.
Thank you, Ted. Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit on the agenda. I got so excited to introduce Andres that I skipped a section of our agenda, which was to talk about our Medical Alumni Faculty Scholarship program. So this is something really neat that we've been working on with our medical alumni who are on faculty at Carolina. So they work in the healthcare system on the Carolina Blue side of things. I'm going to introduce Megan Hunt. Megan is new to all of you because she's new to our team. She joined us in November. She's been with the Health Foundation for a number of years at Lineberger Comprehensive Cancer Center and with the university for years before that. But Megan is working with our Allied Health Sciences program. We're now taking more of an umbrella inclusive approach to our School of Medicine alumni. So she's working a lot with that constituency, but she's also helping with some of our special MD program and campaigns. So Megan, will you talk to us a little bit about the MAPS campaign?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I can definitely talk about it. Woo. So as Kirsten said, I'm working on the Medical Alumni Faculty Scholarship, and the scholarship was established in 2013. And as Kirsten said, it is funded by our loyal alumni who are working at the School of Medicine and at the hospitals as well. Over the last, 7-8 years, there have been 7 students who have been awarded this scholarship and who have been able to, who've gotten it in their first year and been able to come to UNC and have that scholarship support from our alumni and been able to get that first year pretty much underway without having to incur as much debt as they might otherwise have had to have incurred. So we're starting a campaign on May 17th. That's going to run for 2 weeks. And we're hoping to raise $25,000, and we have a generous faculty colleague who is matching gifts 1-to-1. So if we raise $25,000, then that means it'll be $50,000 to this scholarship. We are very excited to be using a crowdfunding campaign platform that really should help generate the buzz and excitement around this medical alumni faculty campaign. So we are really excited to launch this next month. And like I said, it'll start May 17th, right after graduation. And as we all know, it's a little bit later this year. So this will be running until almost the end of May. And that's it.
Great, thank you. So as you got in a sense tonight, we have our hands in a lot of different portions of the education mission here, which is a lot of fun for our team. One other event that I want to be able to highlight for you is the series that we talked to you about in September that we were getting ready to launch, this UNC SOM Insiders, School of Medicine Insiders. And the goal of this was to take a volunteer, to partner the volunteer with the School of Medicine leader and to invite a small group of alumni in and have a conversation about philanthropy on a topic that's meaningful to that alum. So we're very grateful. John Kirkland kicked off the series for us. He and Dean Burks hosted a conversation on the building that was nicely attended, and we had some really, really great conversations that arose out of that. Lindsay Wilson, who could not be with us tonight, NLFC member, was able to host a conversation with our own Dr. Fowler on geriatrics education and how the Loyalty Fund has impacted that. And I know a number of people I'm seeing on the call have participated in different versions of this. Calvin Harris, who's here with us tonight, kicked off a series of conversations on diversity, equity, inclusion with, yes, Dr. Wilson is also a teaching professor. Dr. Harris kicked off a conversation with Nate Thomas, who is the school's new Vice Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and that was so successful. It's turned into a series of conversations we're having now and how to engage some of our other constituencies and alumni. So thank you to Dr. Harris, who thought he was coming in for one event and now has become the co-host of a series. But this is a great way for y'all to get involved. If you have a passion for a specific topic, we can pair you with someone at the school who can speak to that topic, and we'll help you with the invitation list. And it's just, I think, a really fun way. I don't know, I'm going to put you on the spot, John, but I don't know if you want to say anything about your own experience with that. He's unmuting.
I am unmuting. No, Kirsten's being very modest. She does all the work. She will create the list, but it is fun. And some of the people that I'm seeing on the Hollywood Squares right now were there that night. But it does afford sort of a close inside look, and you get to talk to the insiders about anything you want. But it's sort of an intimate setting, even though it's not intimate with Zoom, but it's as intimate as we can be right now. And it's a wonderful thing, and it's a testimony to all the work that this team, the development team, is doing and trying to be creative to try to drum up some support. And we're talking to the choir here. Everybody I see has been either a big donor or a donor of their time, and that is not to be overlooked. But we do need to broaden our reach here and engage as many people as we can. And if each of us can engage 4 or 5 more people, it just it will expand, and we'll get this building built, and we'll get these programs funded, and the students more scholarships and everything. So Kirsten, thank you. I'm just rambling now, but I'm just happy to, like Ted, I'm just happy to be a part of everything.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Ted now to close this out. But John, that was a perfect description, and hopefully others feel inspired to want to do this. And if so, we'll probably give the summer a little bit of break. We know that even though it's not a normal summer, people will probably be trying to get out of town if they can. So we'll look to launch that series again this fall. Ted, back to you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Kirsten. Actually, Butch is going to close us out at the very, very end, and we're going to have, I think we got time for some Q&A, just a few short remarks. I think it's pretty easy to see why giving to the Loyalty Fund is so important. And I just want to ask you to do 3 things, actually, I guess. The first is really consider some of the School of Medicine Insider gatherings. Those sound like fun, and they should be, and a good opportunity to get to know people you know and maybe people you don't know well. The other thing, as is evidenced simply by your attendance tonight, is please remain engaged and involved. It's very, very critical. And the last thing is that as you have demonstrated, please remain loyal, and by that, please continue to give to the Loyalty Fund. And regardless of where your other initiatives and support in the School of Medicine or UNC Healthcare may be, have been, will be, please really consider an annual gift to Loyalty Fund. I mean, you see the impact that it has. So we've got time, and I'd like, if anybody has questions for Lauren or Eli or Andres or Sherry or anybody else in development, I'll let Kirsten manage the Q&A, and then we'll call time in a little bit, and then we'll let Butch wrap us up. So anybody with any questions, good opportunity to talk to these talented people.
I have a question for Lauren. So Lauren, what amount of money for the enrichment fund kind of got you guys off the ground after you did all the work to get to that point? What are we talking about?
Yeah, $600.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's the challenge for us on this call is, you know, it doesn't take a lot to do things that really matter for the long term. Thanks.
Well, I'm going to just say thank everybody for tonight. And yes, I am preaching to the choir for sure. But you can see from the students that we've had the impact of the loyalty fund. And I'm kind of amazed at a lot of things that happen with the departments, and these students get so involved in things, and then they want to go to a meeting or do whatever, and all of a sudden the department has no money to sponsor them, and we're able to help with that. And something that wasn't mentioned tonight is really the impact of COVID on some of the things that our students were not able to do, and that is to travel. So we had a lot of students that have applied to do summer research, and again, there was no funds to pay them. And I'm happy to say that due to y'all's generosity and others that have contributed, we were able to really fund a number, in fact, all of them. Isn't that right, Kathy?
The ones that they were going to accept, they accepted a certain amount, but it was more than last year. We stepped up last year and did 24. We normally do 10, and this year we're going to support 34.
Wow.
At $136,000.
And then our faculty scholarship that you heard about, we normally give one per year. We're going to 2 this year. The other thing about the faculty scholarship is that they get enrichment funds every year. And I call these educational enrichment funds. It allows them to do things that some of the other students couldn't do or couldn't afford to have, whatever. So unrestricted dollars mean everything, and especially with the COVID impact, we need it more and more. And I think that the new medical education building speaks for itself. We got to have that. I'll use an athletic analogy. You know, we have a fancy stadium, we have a fancy indoor practice field, and we got outdoor practice fields and everything wonderful. Well, that could make a difference in when we recruit a football player or a basketball player to have something like that. If you don't have it, you're not competitive. And the same thing about the medical education building. We want to have, we got first-class students. You've seen that tonight. And we're very blessed with that. And all of them, they're going to give back. I constantly talk to them about, now just remember one thing, you may have gone to X place to undergraduate school and may have done this. However, the thing that got you where you are today or going to be is this medical school. So it's your ticket to life, and no question about it. So don't forget to write the checks, important. And then I go along with Ted, get 4 or 5 others to do the same thing. That helps for sure. And our office is always open. We've had to work virtually like everybody else, but we're available and are willing to help in any way we can. And thanks for tonight.
Thank you. I think it's our benediction, right? Anybody got any other comments or questions? If not, we'll close the meeting. Wish everybody good health, and hope to see you again soon in person.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thank
Good
you
night.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
attending.
y'all.